Hey peeps, Pheen here, and we're continuing on with the Great Ace Attorney, if I can get my words right. Last time, we continued the investigation of Kazuma's cabin to see if we could maybe find something, anything, to prove our innocence. And in doing so, we got to meet up with the one and only Herlock Sholmes and question his detective prowess. But also within that, we found out our other detective friend is here to talk with. So, what are your special orders this time around, buddy? Inspector?
Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew?
Yeah, I'm curious myself, Hazanaga.
I'm so sorry.
Huh?
This is all my fault. I take full responsibility.
For what?
My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated.
Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility?
I'm not sure. But there are some complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities.
This is incredible.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated?
Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew.
I see.
And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize.
Inspector.
So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word.
Well, actually, yeah, there is. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves.
I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer.
Of course not!
We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door.
Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin.
I'm sorry.
What?
You've been deemed as a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two.
I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well.
Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive.
What do you mean?
If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to.
But I don't see how.
There may be a way.
What? Really?
Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession.
Evidence?
It's just like the same as when you're in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hasanaga could use.
So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yeah, I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Alright, so Would you believe I'm a student, sir? Oh, God, I keep doing that every time. Inspector, can I show you this?
What the? Is that a fabled Imperial Human University pin badge?
I'm not sure if it's really fabled exactly, but...
So, you're a genuine student then?
Sorry?
Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you're trying to say?
Can I have my badge back, please? Alright, so... maybe the thing about the ballerina. Can I show you this newspaper, Inspector?
I'm sorry, but I can't read Russian very well.
Oh, no, that's alright. I know what it says.
So you just wanted to point out your university-level linguistic talents, is that it?
Sorry?
Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you're trying to say?
Sorry, forget I mentioned it. Oh, right.
What's that?
It's Kazuma's diary.
Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary.
Strange? In what way?
He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? That is strange.
Yes, we're still trying to work out what that meant by that, but what I'd like to know is...
Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it?
You're very astute, Inspector.
That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin.
That's right. So if we can investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was.
Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. Captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though.
But what about the captain? Are you going against his direct orders?
I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it makes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Osogi-san safe. This is the least I can do.
Thank you.
Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last.
Alright, see what we can find out. Thanks, Hasanaga. Alright, time to check out the next door room. AKA the hallway. Whew, finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. This is the most luxurious accommodation.
Yes, indeed. Kazuma-san was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodations in steerage.
Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there! That's another crewman keeping watch. And he looks enormous, even if he's sitting down.
The door next to him leads to second-class accommodation. Suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't.
I suppose. Like people in handcuffs?
Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already.
Well, yeah, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe.
Must have been a very trying time for you.
please, don't give me that pitying look. Well, oh, we can't. Oh, yeah, we can. Okay, so let's see what we can look up here real quick. It's a huge book on the table over there. There's a pen next to it.
Yes, that looks like the ship's log.
Shall we have a little look through it?
The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been miraculously recorded.
You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such a beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment.
I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank.
Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Alright, so what about this? This looks like the plan of the SS Buria. Shows each deck. Look!
The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering.
Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean?
Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san.
It is?
Well, consider the Japanese archipelago.
Little islands, Japan?
Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea ever since the gods created them.
Well, I suppose so. Hey big guy, you wanna talk? Excuse me, but could I ask you something?
You little stowaway murderer.
That wasn't a good start, was it?
Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask you something of you?
You little third-class ladies' man.
Ouch!
Oh,
You seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san.
I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman, Beef Stroganoff.
Best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Okay, so Mr. Stroganoff, we have a few questions. Please don't kill me. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area.
Here we are on the finest Portaburia steamship for very important persons.
What sort of very important persons?
Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place.
Gosh, that's amazing.
But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in the ocean, but Stroganoff is not edible.
Thank you?
if I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Susato-san, did you understand that?
It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes, or no.
Genius.
It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation.
Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least.
Yes, it's tantalizing.
What happened last night?
Nah, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Susato-san, did you understand that?
It was clearly, no.
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all.
And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way?
I said no!
Sorry! I'm not so sure, though. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. So, who's next door? Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's?
His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is very important Western gentleman.
Western gentleman?
Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of student boy.
How can you be so sure about that?
Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly students from insignificant Far East Islands.
That was harsh.
Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard?
That is not your business.
Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there.
Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of his first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Isn't that right?
That is not your business. This is enough. I cannot say more now.
Oh,
It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin.
yeah, alright.
Bulk into second class area. Stay locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on the top of mountain. Or as English say, when the pigs fly.
Yeah, I understand.
Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we?
Definitely. Alright. Now that that problem's gone away, let's look around a little bit. We didn't bother to check this stuff yet.
Ah, trap for catching mice.
Yeah, we have plenty of those back at home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait.
Let me see. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. It's made from the milk of cows.
Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like.
You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers.
Really? But... I suppose you're right.
You weren't actually going to try it, were you?
All I have to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe.
Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later.
I guess it does kind of make sense when you think about it, because a lot of Japanese cuisine doesn't really involve cheese from last I looked into it. I know there are certain dishes that have it, but it's not a really cheese-centered cuisine. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it?
That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it.
Oh, an alarm.
It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it's set alarm bells ringing all over the ship, and brings the vessel to a complete stop.
Oh, this I have to...
What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it.
But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs.
You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation.
I wish everything would just stop. The ship included.
If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else.
Alright, alright. So wait a minute, do we examine this door though? This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to.
Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whoever's in the cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask.
No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries.
How annoying. Whoa! What was that? Came from inside the cabin.
Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman.
I'm about to break the door down.
Mr. Sholmes!
I shall be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges.
Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted.
It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch the muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick?
I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. What the?
Who are you?
Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream.
A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there is nobody but me in this cabin.
True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed?
Get out, all of you, now!
Please excuse the intrusion,
But you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that is me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I am a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely.
man uses the magazine like a business card.
A detective. I do not trust detectives. We distinctly had a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself with the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open the small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid! How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk.
Don't look at me! What the?
Oh my... Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah? He's just shook.
Leave, now! Otherwise, I'll call the steward!
So this is Cosmo's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. The strange Russian man is hiding something.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns.
Well... do I converse, or do I invent? Let's talk a little bit first. But first things first. I'm a student, sir! Mr. Roylott, what do you make of this?
Listen, do you know why I'm wearing these dark glasses?
No, not really.
So I do not have to look at things I do not want to look at. Do you understand me?
Wish I could point out that you can still see things, even when wearing sunglasses. But his chilly air has frozen my lips shut. Okay, so... last night... Mr. Roylott, we'd like to talk to you about something.
No! Oh! I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now.
This is going terribly.
We're not getting anywhere here.
I agree. But there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Mr. Roylott, we'd like to talk to you about... oh, is it going to be the same? Yeah. Alright. Guess we have to examine now.
What do you think you're doing? This is my cabin. Get out!
Can we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps?
No!
What a pity. I think we're out of luck.
I think you're right.
There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do.
I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Well, with slim options. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes?
You need only address me as Sholmes.
That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there?
Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting?
Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of deduction into service.
Oh!
And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken?
Well, no, actually. You're spot on, for once.
Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why, the truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians.
Right.
Can you imagine how the Russians will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh, yes, please!
Well then, what are you about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian? I ask you. What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness?
I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone.
That's right, and Mr. Sholmes? I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but well, I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment.
Shh! I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not?
Oh, Naruhodo-san! I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes!
That was a great deduction?
Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person.
What? What inevitable twaddle!
Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true.
I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. Looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right.
How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then, I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board this train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together.
Whoa, what?
So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place. is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we may ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us right in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question that begged this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular, the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I am sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, "Revolutionary villain before ship flees Russia via Shanghai." As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain Borshkivek. Not that I have heard of you myself, you understand.
Herlock, there's kind of a problem with that.
Now, as for my secondary conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Oh! And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answers we seek lie where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sit before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare.
No, I refuse.
What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein.
Don't be absurd!
And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refused to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novi Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of an abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky.
Susanoo-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it?
Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow.
Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment?
Pray, what can I do for you?
It's about your deductions. Would you mind?
Not at all. Go on.
Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other.
Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier. At the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness to Mr. Shums, Mr. Rolla does look more like this man than you do.
That's not the point! And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina.
Indeed, truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman.
Not just at first glance, it is too small! Clearly! You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard!
I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15.
No, I didn't know. How could I?
Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case.
Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain leanness in their bodies.
Vinegar?
For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case.
Oh dear. You might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Shums.
This whole thing is turning into a circus.
Mr. Naruhodo, something occurred to me about Mr. Shums' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off.
Your idea of a little, maybe a little off itself, Mrs. Sato.
It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think?
Switch some key words in his deductions.
Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Shum's great deduction.
Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind.
This man's a lot of work.
At times I wonder how anyone puts up with me.
It's not that funny.
Ah, you, my good fellow.
Sorry?
Take a moment to look at your wrists.
My wrists? Oh, whoa, what the?
Where are your handcuffs?
How did...
I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction.
I don't believe it.
Mr. Shums, you are a marvel.
And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished.
I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this.
So, let us begin.
We'll begin next time. So, next time around, we're going to be doing us a little dance. And I'll see you guys later.